Hello everyone. Today, I want to show you the features of one of the tools for Adobe Illustrator, called Dynamic Corners. This tool is part of a plugin called VectorScribe from Astute Graphics. When you install the VectorScribe plugin, you get 6 very powerful tools. They are Dynamic Shapes Tool, Path Scribe Tool, Extend Path Tool, Smart Remove Brush Tool, Dynamic Measure Tool, and the Dynamic Corners Tool. All these tools provide very useful functionality, most of which is either not natively provided by Illustrator's own tools or even if provided, is extremely limited. Today we'll just look at the Dynamic Corners tool from Astute Graphics. A small disclaimer before we begin: I am neither an employee of Astute Graphics nor am I its representative. I am not being paid by Astute to record this video. I am just a regular creative professional who uses their tools on a daily basis to create art, and their tools make me more creative, efficient and productive. So let us get started. The tool comes with its own little panel where you can set the radius value, the type of corner, either round, also called regular corner, inverted round, also called negative corner, or chamfered. You can also choose the method for applying the corners, either the true radius method or the standard method. We will talk about what these methods are as we go along. Also, there is an Apply to Selection button. In the flyout menu of the panel, there are a range of options available to help you get the desired results, which we will also see as we go along. In this artboard, I have some simple shapes. I have set a radius value of 24 points in the panel, and also selected the type of corner as regular corner. When I hover the cursor over any one of the corners, I can immediately see the feedback of how the corner will appear, if applied. The artwork need not even be selected to see the feedback and apply the corner. I can click on a corner to apply the dynamic corner to it. As you can see, a radius of 24 points gets applied to this corner. I can also interactively apply a custom rounding value by clicking and dragging. Even if the entire art is selected, I can selectively and interactively apply the corners to just those specific corners in the art that I wish to apply corners to. I need not bother and worry about first deselecting the art. Select those specific corners only and apply corners to them. This makes the whole process of applying corners to your art so much more efficient and hassle-free. And it saves both time and effort. If I want to quickly apply the same corner value to just some specific corners of the artwork, say the 2 corners on the right side of this rectangle, or the 3 corners of this polygon, I can hold down the Option key and marquee drag over them to apply the corners to them only. To apply corners to an entire object, I can hold down the Shift and Option key and marquee drag over just a little portion of the object to quickly apply the specified corner value to the entire object. I can select a dynamic corner by either clicking on this small circle or clicking on the applied corner of the artwork. A solid circle indicates that the corner is selected. Similarly, I can deselect a corner by clicking away from it, which is indicated with a hollow circle. I can double-click on the small circle to quickly remove the corner. After applying a radius to a corner, if I like that, I can quickly and easily apply the same corner value to the entire object by clicking on the Apply to Selection button. When the corner angle between the segments in the art is exactly at 90 degrees, there is no difference between the true radius method and the standard method of applying corners. For example, in the case of a rectangle, it makes no difference whether you choose one or the other. But if the angle between segments is either acute or obtuse, there is difference between the two methods. The standard method mimics the behavior of the round corners effect that is native to Illustrator. I can create perfectly rounded rectangles without extra anchor points, unlike what I get natively in Illustrator. Here, let me show you. When I draw a perfectly rounded rectangle using Illustrator's Rounded Rectangle tool, it has 8 anchor points, which can be seen in the Document Info panel, even though the artwork shows just 6 anchor points. That means that there are 2 extra coincident anchor points. But when I create the same perfectly rounded rectangle using the Dynamic Corners tool, I get just 6 anchor points. Perfect, isn't it? I can apply dynamic corners even when the edges of the art are hidden. Now that is cool. When the maximum limit of radius value that can be applied to a corner is reached, it is indicated by 2 concentric circles, like this here. Moving on, let's jump to my second artboard. Here I have some shapes drawn using Illustrator's native tools: rounded rectangles, circles, a spiral, a polar grid, a path with 3 semicircles and a flare object. When I hover the Dynamic Corners tool over the radiuses of these objects, I get an immediate feedback stating corner recognized along with the radius value. I can click or drag on a radius value to selectively convert it to a dynamic corner. Only the radius that is clicked is converted. If I wish to convert all the radiuses of an object to be dynamic in nature, I can select the object and from the flyout menu, choose Convert to Dynamic Corners. Now let us go to my third artboard. Here I have some objects having round corners effect applied to them. I select these objects and from the flyout menu, choose Convert Round Corner Effects. All the round corner effects get converted to dynamic corners, allowing me to further modify them as I desire. Moving on to my fourth artboard, we will see why the option called Remove Dynamic Status is so powerful and useful at the same time. Here I have a rectangle and an object that looks like a staircase. I want to apply the inverted round corner to 2 corners of the rectangle. Here, let us apply it now. After that, I want to apply a slight rounding to these corners, the ones I am pointing to. With the dynamic status active on the already applied object, I cannot apply another dynamic corner to them. Round corner in this case. So I select the corners of the object and from the flyout menu of the panel, choose Remove Dynamic Status. Once the dynamic status of the corners is removed, I can go ahead and apply the round corner to them. Now let us see how the option Select Similar Radius Corners works. This option works on the basis of the tolerance value you specify in the Dynamic Corners Preferences dialog. As you can see, right now the tolerance value is set to 1 point. Typically, when I am interactively dragging with the Dynamic Corners tool, I may create corners on the artwork whose radiuses vary slightly. But let us say that I wish to quickly select all such corners and change them to a consistent, unified value, or change all such corners and change the type of corner. In such a case, I can choose this option and select all corners whose radiuses lie within the specified tolerance range. If no object is selected, the corners across all the objects that lie within the specified tolerance are selected. But if one object or multiple objects are selected, only the corners of those selected objects that lie within the tolerance range are selected. Now I want to talk about the final option. I am certain that I have saved the best for the last. Whenever I use this option, it brings out a joyful child in me. It is such a fun option that I am sure you'll also fall in love with it. It is not only for functional use but creative ones too. The option I am gushing so much about is called the Active Dynamic Corner mode in the flyout menu of the panel. This is checked on by default. Here, let me show you how it works. I have a rectangle and a square that have dynamic corners applied to them. If I select the Direct Selection tool and do some kind of destructive edit, like what I am doing here to this corner of the rectangle, as soon as I let go of the mouse, you will see that the art has automatically got adjusted, like a piece of clay, to the destructive edit. And magically the dynamic corners on each of the corners of the object are retained. But if that option is turned off, this automatic readjustment of the art won't happen. Let us look at this square. My art director tells me that he wants that to be a rectangle instead. No problem, it can be done. I select the Dynamic Corners tool, select the two corners on the right side of the square, hold down the Option key and drag. Voila, the square becomes a rectangle and the corners stay intact. Now coming to this star, let us do some fun with it. Your creativity is limited only by your imagination. Let us quickly put to use the knowledge gained so far on a real-world art. This artwork is created by Von Glitchka and we'll use it here strictly for demo purposes only. I want to change this monster so that he has buck teeth instead. See how easy and intuitive it is. I hope you learned a great deal about this wonderful tool called Dynamic Corners from Astute Graphics. Do check it out. Thanks for watching.